sport science membina satu jurulatih knowledgeable.
It's all about bringing the very best you can, and some days you have better days than others, but it's all about preparation and bringing the very best to the table.
Coaches yang berpengalaman supaya ini akan memendekkan masa proses untuk menjadikan player ini bagus.
Coaching e-learning system adalah inisiatif baru dalam mengintegrasikan teknologi di dalam senario pengajaran dan pembelajaran kejurulatihan terkini. Malaysia Sports Coach Registry atau MSCR merupakan satu sistem pendaftaran jurulatih di mana ia berperanan sebagai hub pengumpulan dan penyimpan data jurulatih supaya lebih sistematik dan berpusat. Program Women Can Coach diperkenalkan bagi meningkatkan pelibatan wanita dalam bidang kejurulatihan dan membangunkan kumpulan komuniti wanita daripada akar umbi ke tahap tertinggi dalam industri sukan. Program Sports Coaching Plus merupakan kerjasama bersama Persatuan Sukan Kebangsaan bagi mentauliahkan para jurulatih dengan lesen kejurulatihan di bawah skim perlesenan Kejurulatihan Kebangsaan atau SLKK. Program ini menumpukan kombinasi ilmu sains sukan dan sukan spesifik yang membantu kepada peningkatan prestasi atlet secara keseluruhan.
Baik, Assalamualaikum, selamat sejahtera, selamat pagi dan salam sukan untuk semua. Sebelum saya pergi dengan lebih lanjut, izinkan saya memperkenalkan diri terlebih dahulu. Saya Ahmad Syahid Syamsaini, dari Cawangan Pendidikan Profesional Akademi Kejurulatihan Kebangsaan. Kita bertemu lagi dalam siri Talk and Share bagi siri yang pertama untuk tahun 2022 dengan tajuk APPLIED SPORTS BIOMECHANICS. Sebelum itu, saya ucapkan selamat datang dan ucapan penghargaan terima kasih kepada semua follower setia AKK, terutamanya daripada jurulatih, warga-warga pendidik, pelajar, tidak lupa atlet, ibu bapa dan juga our local and international viewer. Dan saya ucapkan selamat datang juga kepada rakan-rakan di Institut Sukan Negara dan juga Majlis Sukan Negara. Baik, secara ringkasnya topik kita untuk hari ini yang merupakan topik pertama bagi siri Talk and Share tahun 2022 dengan harapan AKK akan membawa anda dengan topik-topik ilmiah yang mengkhususkan kepada pengetahuan dan aplikasi semasa yang boleh dipraktikkan oleh jurulatih dan juga penggiat sukan di luar sana. Alright, apabila kita membincangkan tentang topik kita pada hari ini, Applied Sport Biomechanics, rata-rata di antara kita mungkin tidak pasti tentang penggunaan dan juga fungsi terhadap elemen ini, especially dalam sukan. So kita tak tahu dekat mana nak guna biomekanik ini, elemen ini. So kita akan bersama dan dia akan dikupaskan oleh panel jemputan kita. Baik, sebelum kita jemput panel kita, secara asasnya elemen biomekanik ini membawa maksud kepada penggunaan aturan mekanikal pada struktur yang hidup, terutamanya lokomotor tubuh manusia. Ini kerana semua jenis sukan mempunyai pergerakan yang berbeza. Ada sukan yang memerlukan hayunan dari tangan dan ada juga yang memfokuskan pada pergerakan kaki dan macam-macam lagi bergantung pada sukan itu sendiri. Namun, hanya biomekanik sukan, pengurusan kecederaan dan juga ergonomi digunakan secara meluas oleh pengamal sukan dalam negara maupun antarabangsa. So sebenarnya banyak cabang-cabang dalam biomekanik ini, terutamanya kita boleh explore dari segi kinesiologi, analisis gaya berjalan, musculoskeletal, dari segi perubatan ortopedik, dan juga kita boleh kaji dari segi daya ketahanan dan kekuatan kardiovaskular, dan biomekanik ni juga boleh di-apply dalam kejuruteraan dan juga pekerjaan implan iaitu perubatan. So kita akan bersama panel jemputan kita untuk mengupas tajuk ini dengan lebih mendalam. Kita akan bersama-sama dengan Cik Yallini, anak perempuan Selva, yang juga merupakan pegawai belia dan sukan di Institut Sukan Negara di bawah Pusat Biomekanik Sukan. Hai Puan Yallini.
Hello,
Apa khabar?
khabar baik.
Wow,
Kamu-
cantik hari ni.
Thank you.
Tak terlewat untuk saya wish happy Pongal's Day.
Tak terlewat, thank
Tak
you.
terlewat. Okay. Alright. Cik Yallini, kita bersama-sama untuk hari ni untuk mengupas tajuk Applied Sport Biomekanik. So macam biasa, panel-panel jemputan kita boleh terangkan sedikit berkaitan tajuk anda pada hari ni? Sedikit saja sebelum kita teruskan.
Ya, sebelum saya mulakan, thank you for the wonderful introduction, Syahir. So untuk hari ini topik kita akan cover bagaimana biomekanik dapat diaplikasikan oleh semua orang, even in most especially dekat grassroots level. Sebab kita nak buat because our athletes tak semestinya kena apply biomekanik hanya bila mereka telah menjadi elite, tetapi even when they start their sports, they can immediately start to use biomechanics. So untuk topik hari ini, itu adalah apa yang kita akan emphasize.
Thank you. Yes, saya bersetuju sangat. This element of sport biomechanics kena di-apply di peringkat grassroots terutamanya, supaya atlet-atlet tahu cara berjalan yang betul, tahu cara berlari dan melompat yang betul. That's why the element of sport biomechanics sangat-sangat penting dalam biomekanik sukan kita. Alright, tanpa membuang masa, saya akan menyerahkan kepada Puan Yallini untuk mengupas tajuk kita dengan lebih lanjut, dan seterusnya kalau ada soalan-soalan daripada kita punya viewer, dan kita akan in between kita akan tengoklah dan Puan Yallini boleh jawab. Alright Puan Yallini, saya serahkan kepada Puan. Terima kasih.
Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are doing great today. So without further ado, let me introduce myself first before we begin our session for today. My name is Yallini Selva. I am working as a sports biomechanist at the National Sports Institute of Malaysia. I have 8 years experience working in this industry, and for today I hope to be able to share a little bit of my experience that you can take away with you and apply when you go back to training your athletes. Hold on a moment, there seems to be a technical glitch. Okay, now we are back to being normal. So firstly, let's take a look at our objective for today. As I've explained previously, I only have one and only objective that I wish to achieve for today, and that is to enlighten the coaches on methods to utilize the video analysis technique to be specifically applied across various sports. So for today, I will try to cover as variable sports so that you could have an idea on how you can use your videos appropriately for your each sport to achieve the desired results. So now let's go through our contents for today. So firstly, we will speak on what is biomechanics and sports biomechanics, the benefits of sports biomechanics, some acknowledgement, video feedback, application of, and lastly, application of Kinovia. So firstly, what is biomechanics? Bio means life, while mechanics is the study of action of forces, and these forces can be internal or external. So internal forces are forces that originate from within your body. They could be a moment generated by a particular joint, while external forces are forces that are outside your body. They could range from anything like air resistance, gravity, or even an opponent tackling you to the ground. Next, specifically, what is sports biomechanics? So basically, it's understanding mechanical concepts and applying the biomechanics related to it on athletes in order to improve their technique or prevent injury and elicit changes in acting forces in order to achieve maximal performance and minimizing the risk of injury. So now let's speak a little bit on the benefit of sports biomechanics. The first and most important person who will benefit from biomechanics will be the athletes themselves. As we know, a wrong technique or wrong movement practiced over time would definitely lead to injury. So, if biomechanics and video feedback can be used to train the athletes to perform a particular technique in the right way, we can help to prevent injuries. And also to execute the movement properly and achieve the desired results. The next person who will benefit from biomechanics will be the coaches. Coaching will be made easy as sometimes words are not enough to describe what you want to your athletes. Sometimes seeing is believing. So when you choose to show your athletes what they are doing right and what they are doing wrong and what they could improve on, this would definitely help them to improve even faster and you to be more convincing in your argument. And the third person who's going to benefit will be the sports in general, as we would definitely be able to achieve better outcome during competition. Now, I would like to give some acknowledgement. It might seem a little bit strange to have acknowledgement right in between a presentation, but I assure you that these acknowledgements is very important. Introducing the team. So what you can see now is our is the biomechanics team in the National Sports Institute of Malaysia. We have our center head, Mr. Chok Chuan Liang, Dr. Edin Kadim Suwaganda, Ms. Siti Nur Khairunisa, Mr. Yuvaraj, me, myself, and Ms. Destimona. So we are working across various sports group to provide sports biomechanics services, and all the materials that you are going to observe today don't just come from me, but also has been contributed by my team. And hence, the reason why I said acknowledgement is important. Now let's speak about video feedback. Video feedback, if when used properly, can be a very powerful tool to train both young and also elite athletes. For junior athletes, the emphasis will be to train them to perform a particular movement appropriately and efficiently so that they can both minimize injury and move effectively. While for seniors, video feedback can be utilized to ensure that they are performing consistently. So in either way, it is a powerful tool. Now let's speak a little on video recording and analysis. I have 4 simple steps here to help you to understand this matter. Number 1 is to identify. Number 2, set up. Number 3, record. And number 4, feedback. So firstly, you have to determine what are you going to analyze. To determine that, I have a few examples on how you can think. It can be what your athlete needs to improve. It can be something that you wish to highlight to your athlete, or something that your athlete is doing really right and you want them to maintain it. So you first need to identify what you wish to investigate. Number 2 would be the setup or the camera placement. you have to first figure out where are you going to do the data recording and how are you going to place your camera and how many cameras that you wish to use. We will see more examples on how you could achieve that in the upcoming slides. Number 3 would be data recording. You have to set a particular day you wish to record the data. Make sure that the situation is optimum for you. If let's say it's outdoors, for example, make sure that the weather is cooperating with you, and also that your athlete is ready for recording that day so that you get the best performance out of them. Number 4 would be to provide feedback. This is, of course, after you analyze the data that you have recorded previously. You could use various tools that is available in the market, or even some free software that we are also going to speak about later, to provide comments and feedback to your athletes. And as you can see, these simple steps can be repeated over and over again until you achieve what you desire. If your attention or your will is so that the person performs a technique in a particular way, you can continuously repeat this loop until you achieve the desired effect. Augmented feedback is always one of the best ways to teach athletes a new technique or to improve their current technique. Yes, what you're looking at right now is the icon of a software called Kinovia. It is a free software and it's really easy to use. You just have to Google Kinovia and you will be directed to the page to download them. You can use them on your desktop, and it's really simple and easy, and you could use it to analyze your videos. Now let's speak a little bit on the application of Kinovia. So when it comes to application of Kinovia, I'm not going to explain every button that is inside Kinovia. I am going to explain more on how you can utilize videos, how you can get those videos in the first place, how you utilize them, and how you can analyze them using this software. What I'm going to share is ideas. And I also would like to emphasize that in accordance to Data Protection Act, the faces of the people who are involved in any video or any images that I'm about to share has been blurred out. Okay, now first let's take a look for an example with the sports rhythmic gymnastics. Okay, so if you can see here, there's this athlete playing with a ribbon. Basically, she was training with her ribbon, and she threw the ribbon up into the air. And if you notice, the ribbon has fallen to the ground. So we don't know what happened. Why couldn't she catch her ribbon? And why did it fall into the ground? And at the bottom of the slide, you could notice that I have included the icon that you can use in the Kinovia tool, which is the magnifying glass. The function of the magnifying glass is obviously to magnify the image. So you can use it and place it at a particular section in order to be able to have a bigger view of your video and understand what is going on exactly. Okay, so if you can see this video, it's a little bit blurry because it was a long shot, but then even though it's so far away with the magnifying glass, we can still see what is going on. We can notice that the athlete has missed from catching the ribbon, and it has fallen to the ground. So this is basically the athlete looking very disappointed at the ribbon now that it has hit the ground. Okay, so how are we going to, help this person to understand why was she not able to catch the ribbon? So what I am demonstrating right now is a comparison video. So basically, obviously the athlete repeated the trial. So when the athlete repeated the trial, in the second trial, she was able to catch the video. So what all we did was to compare the videos side by side. In Kinovia, there is an icon for 2 TVs that you can use to have 2 videos being replayed simultaneously, and you could synchronize these videos. So through synchronization, we can notice that in the first attempt, the posture of the athlete is more straight, while in the second attempt, the athlete is more slanted forward. And in the second attempt, we can notice that when her arm position is higher than her lower back, she already managed to catch the ribbon. While in the first video, she is not, the ribbon not just even below the lower back, the ribbon keep falling and she has not been able to catch it. So this is a question of timing in the case of athlete. So we could provide this feedback to the athlete and say that, okay, let's take a look at the second one, and you should learn to use this timing. So from this example, you can definitely apply it for your individual sports to emphasize on what is right or what has been mistaken. Okay, now let's take a look at a sample from karate. So similar to the gymnastics, you can also help the athletes to understand what is the right technique to do punching versus the wrong technique to do the punching, which would just get them to lose points instead of gaining any. Okay, now let's move on to our next example, which is long jump. So now let me speak about, for the other samples that I've provided previously, the camera placement could be from anywhere because it was just qualitative. It does not involve any numbers and there's no specificity in the data that we were going to collect. And we just can analyze them using the software. But for long jump, this particular camera setup has been done more carefully because we want to have more measurements and we want to specifically specify the distances between one position to another. So in this sample, the yellow round is actually indication of cones. We are actually going to place 3 cones for 10 meters, five to identify 5 meters on the left and 5 meters on the right. The camera is placed frontal to the pitch, to the 10 meter area, and this is basically a setup from top view. Okay, so this is an example of an athlete performing the run up in the 10 meter distance prior to takeoff. So among the things that we can actually take a look at would be the contact, flight, and also the step time, and also how the athlete performs the penultimate stride, which is the last free stride. And if you observe the image carefully, you can notice some timing gate that is being placed in the image. So of course, when we are working in ISN, sometimes we don't just work as a standalone, but we also work with other departments. So we also even have the physiologists helping us by placing us timing gate so that we can get even more accurate results for analysis later on. So for this setup, this is considered as a static camera, which is perpendicular to the 10 meter distance. So in the previous examples that I give you, which is the rhythmic gymnastics or even the karate, we have athletes who are moving around the entire court. So basically, when you have the camera recording them, you would have to also move around the whole court. But this is a static camera. So a static camera means that the camera is not moved at all, so that we can get accurate measurements. Next, let us see an example for paracycling. So this is also basically a static camera that is placed to face the athlete. So this is for a track athlete. So we can analyze the athlete through the vertical position and also horizontal position. So in the vertical position, one of the major component that we could emphasize will be the angle between their knee, which is ideally desired to be below 145 degrees. So if in our analysis, if let's say we find it to be exceeding the desired number, then we can make some adjustments. For example, we can adjust the seat so that the knee angle can be reduced. And then we can also do analysis from the horizontal position, whereby we could take a look at how the athlete distribute their weight and also on their reaching, and also to see the toe and knee alignment, and we can see if, let's say, they are in line, because they are really important when the athlete is exerting force onto the pedal, as we don't want them to waste any force that is being generated. We want them to be accurately and entirely being placed on the pedal, so that the power generated by them would result in an increased speed. The next example would be for the sports archery. So basically, in this setup, we are going to use 4 cameras. We are going to have, we can put them in 4 different angles. We can put them in front, back, at the side, and also from the top. As I've mentioned previously, if you have access to a paid, for a software with subscription such as Dartfish and so on, then you can actually see 4 views at the same time. But if you don't, it's still okay. In Kinovia, you can actually view 2 videos at the same time. So you could alternately pair the view and synchronize them in order to see what is going on from 4 different angles at the same time. So this is an example on camera placement. As you can see, on the top left is from the front, is from the left. The on the top right is placed from the right. Bottom left is placed from the back, and the bottom right has been is the top view of the video recording. Next, let's see some example for the sports diving. Okay, so this is an example on how you can place your camera. In this case, we are not even using a fancy camera. We are using an iPad. As long as you have a tool that you can use to record a good quality video, it is okay. You can use them to analyze and provide feedback. But importantly, as you can notice, there is a tripod that is being placed there, and the iPad is mounted onto the tripod. Because our hands have vibration, and later on we don't want our vibrations to result in images that is not desirable. We don't want shaky images. We want them to be steady. So it's always better to use a tripod. And what can you see from a diver? For example, you can use the angle feature that I have highlighted in the red circle. You can use it to analyze the angle of the athlete while they are entering the water. And of course, a lower angle would result in lesser water ripples, and less water ripple is desirable in the sports diving. Okay, next, let's take a look at the example for swimming. You can use the same feature, which is the angles, to analyze how does the athlete enter the water. You can use it to compare various videos to understand the consistency of the athlete while doing so. Okay, so this image is from an underwater camera. So before you take your waterproof phones and jump into the pool and trying to attempt this, let me warn you that for this underwater camera, it comes with specific equipments, and the equipments help to minimize water turbulence in some way. While if you attempt to go in with your waterproof phones, maybe you will be subjected to water turbulence and your images might not be as steady as this. But if you have access to underwater cameras, then why not? You may use the angle feature to analyze the angles between the knee of the athlete during while they're performing turning in the pool. Next, let us take a look at the sports shooting. Okay, so this video was taken during competition, because yes, you have videos during training, you provide feedback to athletes during training, but it's equally important to know what they are doing during the competition. So this particular video recording, sometimes during competition, in my experience, you might not get the best view, you might not get the best seat, but then you could still use the tools to analyze and to maximize and use anything that you can find to your advantage, and have some analysis conducted, so that the athletes under you can still have some understanding on how they perform during competition. If you know how does the competition venue looks like, you can pre-plan it. You can actually train to analyze from the similar angle during your training, and then trying again during competition, comparing them and providing feedback to your athletes eventually. And this would really help them to understand, especially during competition, the athletes might be subjected to nerves. So if you have anyone performing differently due to their nervousness, you can even highlight those things. It's not necessarily strictly biomechanics, but then again, you could use the grid lines. As you can see in the image, the red lines are actually grid lines. These features I have highlighted, you can actually find them in Kinovia as well. You can draw this grid line, and the images above is actually I'm comparing between the first shot and the second shot that was released by the athletes during the finals. So and these grid lines you can use to identify the position of a particular athlete. And these grid lines, you can also adjust them in Kinovia so that they stay throughout the video. Okay, and if you have a sharp eye, and if you have not noticed yet, you would notice that in the second video, the position of the pistol is different compared to the first image. Okay, another way for you to understand the differences between trial number 1 and trial number 2 will be to use the superimpose feature that is also available in Kinovia. So basically, what does this feature do is that it takes image 1 and image 2, and then it overlaps them, and it provides you an idea on what is the differences in the position. So you can see that I've highlighted the difference. You can see a black silhouette, and that black silhouette is trial 2. So you can see the difference between trial 2 and trial 1. If let's say you have scoring or a performance outcome of the athlete, then you can even understand what's the difference between the trial 2 and trial 1, and which one do you desire the athletes to keep doing in the long run. So I hereby would like to share several biomechanics apps that is also available online. You can check them out. And that will be all from me for today. Thank you. Thank you to the organizers and for inviting me today. So I hand it back to you. I think you're muted. My icon shows that you're muted.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you for your presentation. Wonderful presentation about the video recording and analysis of biomechanics. So I think we go through the comment. I think they have one questions there. Right. From Fadila Futsal, any apps can be used that affordable besides Kinovia?
I think we have. If you're using iPhone, you can also use the video feedback, video replay there. It is also quite clear video. If let's say you want to provide immediate feedback to your athletes, even iPads you can use that. But if let's say you want to go further, you want to draw angles, you want to put comments and lines, then it's Kinovia is the software to go to.
Okay, Fadila. Okey, Puan Yallini, saya ada beberapa soalan memandangkan Okey, ada lagi satu soalan daripada one of the kita punya viewer. Sebelum saya bagikan satu soalan daripada Clarion Genius. I think using tracker also can.
Yes, Kinovia, you can also use tracker. So katakan somebody is throwing a ball, you want to analyze the velocity from this position to the next position, you can just apply a tracker to their arm and you can track that as well.
Okey, okey, memandangkan dari segi biomekanik sukan ni kita melihat kepada movement correction. Betul tak? Okey, movement correction. So adakah perbezaan video recording and analysis di bawah biomekanik ni ada perbezaan dengan performance analysis? Video
Okay.
recording daripada performance sebab kebanyakan kat luar sana mesti tanya apa perbezaan video recording oleh biomekanik dan video recording from performance analysis. Is that the same output ataupun ada beza yang ketara?
Okay, kalau dari segi equipment yang kita guna dan sebagainya, saya rasa yang tu tak ada banyak perbezaan sebab we are all using handicap cameras. Tapi kalau dari segi output, you have to understand that performance analysts, their emphasis is more on the game. Okay, emphasis is more on the game and mostly is working for team sports. Okay, kalau kita lihat dari segi konteks Institut Sukan Negara lah ya. Tapi kalau untuk biomechanics pula, we are emphasizing on technique execution of individual. So you can be a part of the team, you can be different people, but we will analyze you individually and we will explain what are you doing individually. So that is the main big difference. But of course, dalam biomechanics pun kita juga boleh include performance analysis. If let's say we are also including their scores, including how they perform in a certain way. For individually, it is also still considered as performance analysis. So it's a little bit overlapping, but not so similar.
Okey, saya mengharapkan penjelasan ini dapat menjawab persoalan viewer kita di luar sana sebab pada pandangan saya juga keliru juga berkaitan dengan yang ni. Saja tanya untuk okey.
I hope you're clear now. Sekarang jelas.
Yes, very clear. So kita beralih kepada soalan daripada kita punya viewer. Kita boleh tengok kat sini daripada Dizul A1, apa perbezaan video biomekanik dalam periodization?
Saya rasa soalan ni
saya rasa dia punya aplikasi video dalam during the periodization.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, saya
sangat penting dekat mana boleh kita aturkan mana kita boleh letak elemen biomekanik ni di general phase ke, specific phase ke?
Okay. Very good question. Very good question. Okay, so you see when you have periodization, like you mentioned, general, specific and competition. For example, we have 3 phases, right?
Yeah.
You see, dalam ketiga-tiga pun kita boleh pakai biomekanik. So it's up to the coach what you want. Remember, when it comes to video recording, I say the first step is to identify what you want. So let's say, katakan dalam specific training tu, let's say a particular technique tu, because maybe in general they come from D-training. Dia orang sudah pergi holiday baru balik, so mereka belum lagi in the physical form yet. Okay, tapi dalam specific training tu mereka dah relearn the technique and so on. So they are ready to perform. So you can actually go in there to check and see if they are doing it properly. Kalau ada data yang lepas, compare and see if it's the same. Okay, that is example 1. Example 2, tadi pun saya dah explain. Competition. Kita boleh tengok apply biomekanik waktu specific phase. General phase pun boleh juga tapi more to specific phase, and then of course dalam competition phase, waktu nak dekat competition tu, of course kita nak pastikan atlet berada dalam keadaan optimum to go for the competition. So we want to do a check. Okay, everything is fine. Everything is okay. You have achieved everything. You can do one check there. And then waktu dia pergi ke competition, you can still go and have your videos and you can analyze the data to see, okay, sebab sebelum pergi pun kita dah ada data kan. Nanti kita boleh compare kan sekali dengan waktu dalam competition. Kalau saya nak relate balik dengan presentation saya tadi, if let's say saya ada bagi satu contoh yang gymnast terjatuh ribbon. Tadi saya ada bagi satu example. So katakan dalam training dia terjatuh and then kita dah identify, kita dah kata okay, you punya timing you kena adjust sikit, you punya posture kena adjust sikit supaya you boleh catch. Waktu you throw, you control, katakan pergi ke competition terjatuh balik. Dan kita boleh compare balik dengan data yang kita ada sebelum ini. Adakah dia berjaya buat yang kita recommend ataupun dia tak berjaya untuk buat. For example, okay, dari situ, from there we can do the follow up step to improve or prevent benda tu daripada berlaku. So from there we carry on. Okay, then we can, kita boleh tanya, okay, so what actually happened? Mungkin hari tu dia okay je tapi ada external factor ke? Mungkin waktu dia lontarkan ribbon tu, crowd is screaming too much, suddenly there's some strange noise and it scared her. You know, it can be a lot of factors. So this is tiny example on how you can effectively use biomechanics.
Okay. Saya harap dapat menjawab pertanyaan daripada Encik Dizul tu tadi. So saya faham dia punya soalan tu dekat mana. So saya rasa kalau persediaan awal kita buat mungkin di peringkat spesifik lah the correction tu. Sebab during competition kita tahulah tak ramai pegawai yang boleh pergi during the competition, coach and also this one je kan. So restrain to the budget dan currently dengan SOP sekali. So I think the most accurate time dekat specific phase tu. Betul tak Puan Yallini?
I mean, I don't want to touch budget. So and my
that's the real situation.
My objective is like any coaches, you know, even a school teacher, you know,
yes.
When I teach courses and all that, I meet a lot of school teachers. So you know, definitely the teacher will go to the competition. So my idea is if the teacher goes to the competition and you want to use biomechanics, make sure that you do some recording also during competition, because you probably don't have a biomechanics officer.
Alright, okay. I think kita lihat dulu di ruangan komen ada apa-apa soalan lain. Saya rasa tiada lagi soalan lain. So saya nak ucapkan daripada pihak AKK, Akademi Jemputan Kebangsaan, mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada panel jemputan kita, Cik Yallini, dengan tajuk dia Applied Sport Biomechanics. Kami mengharapkan peserta-peserta dan viewer kami di luar sana dapat sedikit pengetahuan berkaitan biomekanik ini sendiri, bagaimana biomekanik ini dapat diaplikasikan terutamanya dalam sukan dan bila dan waktunya, bagaimana kita boleh cater this biomekanik according to the video dan the video recording and analysis yang kita boleh buat berkaitan dengan pergerakan dan juga spesifik teknik kepada sukan-sukan tertentu. Okay, Puan Yallini, saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih. The good presentation from you, very knowledgeable. Thanks for your experience sharing. Okay, sampai di sini saja AKK bersiaran langsung. Kita akan kembali semula dengan tajuk-tajuk yang menarik untuk anda semua di luar sana. So, saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih dan Assalamualaikum.
To turn a good athlete into a great one, it takes more than just training. It is also important to have a scientifically based and proven program that will enhance an athlete's performance at every stage, from the grassroots to the national level. This combination of sports and science is key in making today's complete athlete. At ISN, we do this through our key focus areas of sports science, sports medicine, and sports technology. To achieve our vision of excellence in science, medicine, and technology in sports, we measure several parameters and develop ways to improve every athlete's performance potential through sports science.
Over here, we go through physical conditioning because it helps to maintain and enhance our body strength so that we will be able to endure repetitive or hard physical manual during training and competition.
Before the game starts, you need to learn about the sport science first. Biomechanics is a part of the sport analysis. They help us to analyze our wushu movements because we have lots of difficulties, the jumping, the balancing. At the time we training, we cannot focus so much on every part of our body. So that's why we need all this support to help us to analyze all the movement, all the balancing elements on our bodies.
We do fitness tests in two setups, which are field tests and lab tests. Both of these tests will give us important numbers which represent athletes' performance. As for training monitoring, every number during the training sessions are very important, which include heart rate, blood lactate value, positive exertion, time taken, speed, total distance covered, to make sure they achieve their peak during competitions.
Everyone knows that nutrition is very important to the human body, but it is more important when you are an athlete. At ISN, the nutritionist will monitor our diet and supplement to enhance our performance and recovery.
Psychology lab is really important because it helps me to better prepare myself in terms of mental, and through analysis after the competition we were able to understand what actually happened during the games and what can I do to improve myself so that I'll be prepared towards the next competition.
It is the mission of ISN to deliver world-class integrated sports science, sports medicine and sports management services in a suitable, effective manner towards maximizing athletes' performance.
Sports massage helps to elevate our muscle pains and align our body back into shape. It is often that in high level of competition, athletes get injured. This is where physiotherapy helps us get back into action quickly. When we get serious injuries, we have to go through ultrasound, MRI and X-rays by doctors and specialists here at ISN, which is much faster than going to the hospital. After a tough training session or maybe a tournament, we will go to the ice lab where process aids in quicker muscle recovery and relaxation.
Okay, all in all, what we're trying to do is to improve the overall performance and how to enhance athlete performance in ISN. We use all these labs to test the athletes and also to improve in terms of training or help the athletes to recover fast and get back into their performance. And we also have research and technology and development, whereby we develop tools to enhance or help the sport practitioners to do the testing and etc.
The National Coaching Academy, AKK, is a division under the National Sports Institute of Malaysia, functioning as a one-stop accreditation and education center for sports coaching. With the application of sports science, our athletes will rise to greatness. Because at ISN, sports meets science, the place where legends are made.